Good morning, this is Di. So my grandma is 92. I have a video from her 90th birthday. I will put an eye in the sky, wherever that is, so you can see that video. And she's not doing so good, so I'm gonna go spend the day with her and my mom. I wanted to talk to you this morning a little bit about denial. You know, when something bad happens and I just don't want to deal, I'm pretty good with denial, which is just pretending that that bad thing didn't happen and backburnering it. Today's the day that I have to make the video that is going to front burner and destroy my denial. So I'm not looking forward to it. In fact, I don't think I've shot any new footage, you know, really. Well, I guess I shot Easter, but I just stayed in denial for Easter. So I haven't dealt with this head on, and telling you is dealing it with head on, and I don't want to. And I want to be super respectful of my family because my family watches these videos, and so very well aware that there are many, many people impacted and that this isn't about me. But since it's my vlog, I have to admit why I've postponed this so dang long. The video that I haven't wanted to make. That's the video we're making today. So for a while now, my grandma had been dealing with bladder cancer, which is not a fantastic thing to have, but it was sort of treatable. Like, she'd have a procedure and then she'd go home and she'd get better. And, you know, it wasn't a cure-all, but it bought, you know, significant amounts of time. And she had lots of procedures, and it was just sort of an ongoing thing. I mean, it was a panic at first, like, oh my gosh, and then it became almost a livable thing. So my grandma lives about an hour away, which was kind of a problem for my denial because I can just pretend that I haven't gone down to see her recently instead of the truth. The short way to this is that Grandma's bladder cancer got the best of her a short time ago, and we lost her. But how someone died is like the most insignificant part of the person. So when I get off of work, I'm going to force myself to go home, and we're going to talk about my grandma a little bit, because we're going to face this head on. That's what I'm going to do after work. I'm telling myself. Yeah. So here's pictures that they found at my grandma's house. This is a card that I made my grandma that had a picture of me when I was a baby with my grandma. This is a picture from when Caleb was a baby with my grandma. Another one. And this must have been celebrating my grandma's birthday. There's Caleb right here. And this is one time that we went out to eat at Anthony's home port on the marina. We kind of wore matching outfits, didn't we? And then we were taking the kids on vacation, and the route you take drives past her place, so we stopped and said hi. So there's Caleb, Regan, and Gloria with my grandma. Did film a little bit. I told you I was at the hospital on my birthday. That was because Grandma was having a procedure, and I decided I want to spend it with her. I have a loved one in my extended family who had a procedure today, and I had the choice about worrying all day about it or just going to the hospital, so I decided to go to the hospital. So I wanted to talk about what my grandma was like. Like, if you knew her, you would know. She raised 4 girls, mostly on her own, in a day and age where there weren't a lot of single moms. She worked very hard. She worked for Boeing. She was secretary to the vice president. And so she worked very hard as a secretary. There's a story that after she retired, the day, I think that her first day off, she got a phone call and someone was asking about the key to the file cabinet, I think. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I remember. She retired after I had finished high school, so she was still working all the years when I was growing up. when she retired, she started working on her house. I remember a couple of funny things. She got tired of mowing so much lawn, so she decided that she would put rocks in, but not just regular rocks, like the tiniest little pebbles in her front yard. So we would go and sit in her yard and play with pebbles for a long time. It was a big yard, and so she did a big section in the pebbles. It was kind of funny. I don't know anybody else who chose that kind of tiny gravel to put in their yard. She decided that she needed to remodel the floor plan of her house, which had a kind of kitchen that was separated off. You know, it was one of those, we have them a lot here in the Seattle area, 3-bedroom, 1-bath ramblers. But it had a separate kitchen, and she wanted it to be a more modern floor plan with an open kitchen. So she took a sledgehammer and knocked the wall out. She got it down to where it was just this short wall, and she put a counter on it. I remember being in her house one day. Of course, I was an adult at this time, but being in her house one day, and we were sitting at the counter, and I leaned on it, and it popped up. It was not mounted to the little divider wall. It was just sitting on top. That was her baking cookie stage. I was an adult by the time that she was home, retired, and baking cookies. And I kind of understand that, because my foster grandkids are growing up while I'm busy working. It's the tough part of having the generations quite so close together, I think. So she did then, it was like the baking cookies and things. I remember particularly good, you know, the peanut butter ones with the Hershey's Kiss on top of them? One of the last things she did was she sent over a recipe for oatmeal cookies that she said that I just adored the recipe. Well, it turned out it was the recipe on the back of the can. So she sent the whole can home with my mom so I could make the oatmeal cookies. So I'm looking forward to that. We will make some oatmeal cookies. She took her downsizing really seriously, and this is a really practical thing, but it's a really helpful thing too. And she took her retirement planning very seriously. She planned well for her retirement. She was able to get by on what she had as a retired person for 30 years, I believe. Yeah, it's hard to plan for a retirement that is that long, and she did. She took care of it. The other thing she did was she downsized really well. She went from the 3-bedroom, 1-bath to a 2-bedroom apartment, and then she moved into the complex where she lived. First in a 2-bedroom, then a 1-bedroom, and then a studio. So as much as it was not fun helping clean out her place, we didn't have that much to do. So that's just a tiny bit about my grandma. I'm sure more is going to come up as we have family get-togethers and tell stories and stuff. So I just wanted to get you all caught up. It wasn't that I was ignoring it. I just didn't know how to put my feelings to video, which I still obviously don't. So thank you so much for watching. Click the like button or subscribe, and I'll see you soon. God bless.